and we'll see whether they do or not. No matter which route.
And we know that Reich is known as the quarterback whisperer, right?
Yeah,
But
right.
he did some great things with even a guy like Carson Wentz.
Right.
And so I think that's the theory.
And then I read somewhere, that was last night too, when I seen that trade had broke, trade, that it wasn't Mel Kiper, but some analysts had even said that he still thought the guy at Kentucky
Levis
was the best quarterback of the third.
I thought he was one of the Levi's
Yeah,
family
yeah.
when I first saw his name, but
Will Levis.
Levis.
he's
Yeah,
not.
Will
He's-
Levis.
he's
Yeah,
a-
he was
he's
still
a Levis.
I don't remember who it was. It wasn't the normal one, but it was somebody who said he thought Levis was still the best. So I don't know.
He's a big guy.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? What would you say it takes before you know how the not just the quarterbacks but the draft in general went? 3 years before you actually know how good the draft was. Because what we need to do, when we'll do this in May or early May, late April, whenever the draft is, we'll look at the draft 3 years ago and try to go down through the coaches. I'm telling you right now, the first round is almost 50% bust.
Yeah.
If not,
Yeah.
is not, I mean, if you go through the first, especially the top 10,
Right.
the top 10 is 50% bust and not necessarily quarterback. Quarterback's probably a higher percentage
Right.
than that
Yeah.
of a bust. Thank you,
Well-
Monty. Thank you, Roger. Appreciate it. Rodney Willis helping me this morning to make sure. And like I said, I'm sitting over here in Brett's chair, and he knows all the buttons to hit, and I forgot to
Yeah.
hit stream. That stream is key when you want to be on Facebook. So check
Right.
yours, Mike. Check
Yeah,
your
'cause
Facebook.
it hadn't been on.
And just see. You should have told me instantly. I would remember to hit stream, and we would have saw that problem. But I thought it wasn't enough. I want to go trout fishing.
Now we got it.
When I saw stream, I was going to go trout
I thought I was
fishing.
going fishing.
South Mountain just right up here. You could go trout stream all you wish.
Look at all the words we're reusing these days because of computers and internet. Stream is one of the ones
Yep.
that comes to mind, I guess. There. We thank you for tuning in. Somebody said I'm looking and the names are mixed up, but they're not on my screen. I've got Mike labeled correct, me in this chair, and Lenny, Anthony filling in today for Brett
We got it
sitting
working.
there. So I guess my question is, Rodney, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, buddy. I don't have time for you to open yours. You got to find it. You got to find it. It's on there. It's on Facebook now. I'm getting.
It is.
I'm getting reports that we are on
We are
Facebook
on.
and we are on. And I didn't even think Rodney was a Facebook guy. He
Milton's-
might be the. What's our app that we're on? Boy, I'm losing it this
You're
morning.
losing it this
I
morning.
am. I never had it. Is the problem.
No.
Didn't have it to lose. What is
Tune
it?
in app.
Tune in.
Tune
Yeah.
in.
Tune in.
Milton Sane confirms that we are on Facebook streaming.
Yep. And it takes me a long time to go through TuneIn to see if we're on TuneIn. When that same phone, here's what gets me right. That same phone, the best way to get us is not TuneIn. It is 1050WLON.com. That is loud and clear and all kind of,
That's how I normally watch it.
it comes through that way. Yeah, you can watch it or you can just listen on the phone.
You get
Either
to
one.
when the Legion tournament's down at Campbell, and I saved as a favorite.
Yeah, and Ned says had to hit refresh on his Facebook, but it's okay now.
Mm-hmm.
A lot part of that was my fault. Here's what happens if you click on Facebook and we're not there. Okay, we're not there because I failed to hit stream. You have to refresh, and people just don't nudge you. You just keep hit refreshing. Laney, I forgot to hit the stream, and people were just all over me this morning. Rodney Willis might be pulling up in the parking lot in a minute. Just give me a few words. But, hey, we appreciate
Join
it.
the party.
Definitely appreciate the Brett says TuneIn is working, but it keeps playing ads. I'm listening on 1050WLON.com, so I don't know why it would keep playing ads. Just one stream button for both, right? The stream takes care of TuneIn and
Did you hit the stream? You're on Facebook? The
Yeah.
red line?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, yours should be good.
Okay. During the break.
We love
or-
our advertisers, but I know we want to hear some content too, right?
Okay, so which side? Let's go back to that draft and that pick. Brett says it's TuneIn ads, not ours, so that makes more sense.
Okay.
If we go back, which side would you rather be on of that trade that went down yesterday? And don't look at the teams, okay? Don't look at which team's going to be better, because I think it's pretty simple.
Both
that,
of them are bad right now.
Well, I don't think the Bears should be bad. I think they'll have a better record when it's all said and done than the Panthers will, except for one reason: the division's a lot tougher.
The Bears, I feel like, have, and this is what it is. They have the true commodity because they know what Moore can do.
Yeah.
But
do.
in the long term, you know, if the right pick's made, you know, it might be, you know, theirs is the unknown. You know, I don't know. I kind of hadn't really give you an answer on that because the unknown, and that was going to be unknown with the Bears if they kept it, you know.
Well, you know, the last time they had the top pick, they selected Auburn's Cam Newton. Turned out pretty good for a while, right? The Cam Newton era. That was in 2011.
I believe I read this was the third. This will be the
third
time they've picked. They picked
number one.
The very first franchise year, and they traded it down.
They did.
To Cincinnati, and that's when they took Kerry Collins.
That's right.
Who did the Bengals take with that pick? That's what I'd be interested to know. That's been a long time.
Was it the other Penn State running? Was Kijana Carter there then, or was he the same year? Cause
was he a number one pick?
But I don't know if it was that year or not.
Yeah.
It was in there close.
Kerry Collins was the fifth pick.
He was the fifth pick.
Yeah,
I want to say if it was me, maybe it was Kijana Carter, which was really kind of a bust too for the. You talking about players picked first? If he was.
Yep. Brett says, I like the side with 4 high picks and a good receiver. Yeah, that's hard to beat. That's hard to beat.
Yeah.
But you also got to think about this. Is anybody in the Panthers on their roster their franchise quarterback?
Nope.
And you got to have one.
You got to have one.
And you got to have one.
I think the Bears, they know who theirs is.
They think,
at
yeah.
least.
But I think the Panthers, if you know, you don't know, but if you're 90% sure that you're going to get that franchise quarterback, you're not going to be good right away anyway. No. So you got the next couple of years to load up your roster. You might make some trades with, you know, if you've got anything left to make some trades with.
and like you said, they knew it wouldn't. If they could somehow even pull off a 500 year this year, they'd be jumping for joy. So, you know, they see this as a long term. You just got to hope they make the right.
Yeah.
Right,
and they're going to be in the free agent market for receivers.
Right.
So, hopefully, I don't know that they can find someone as dependable
now,
as DJ Moore.
Yeah. Let's see. So they lost their first pick for the next couple years. Yes. What gets me is the Bears. They basically traded down to get number 9, but they got a starting receiver. You know, on top of that. And they're going to get that pick next year. I mean, that's why I think they, you know. But I will say this: the Bears will screw it up.
Yeah,
it's the Chicago Bears. The Bears will screw it up. I mean, to me, I think we covered this about 6 months ago. I think they're the most underachieving franchise in all of sports. You know, I mean,
they're among the leaders.
The only thing you talk about when you talk about the Bears is 85.
Yeah, I know.
You're
it
right.
Always goes back to the Bears.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, they did make a Super Bowl and lost to Peyton Manning,
right,
and the Colts. That's the only one since, right? Is that the only one since?
Yep.
But that, I mean, you're in a major market. You have maybe the best fan base, one of the best fan bases in the NFL.
You're one of the iconic founding teams of the NFL.
Historic stadium.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rank it in the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you're irrelevant.
Right.
Year after year after year. You're irrelevant. Are you surprised somebody like Brian Urlacher stayed there his whole career? I know he did get to a Super Bowl.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And he's probably just a loyal guy that, you know, and they paid him.
Right.
You know, that makes a difference too. But, you know,
well, you're talking about the Bears bundle. It probably might be a trade of these two both bundle. If you look at the Panthers' history too, so.
Yep.
Yeah, you got that right.
If Tepper will stay out of it, I'm not a Tepper fan, but I'll just leave it at that.
Well,
yeah, he hasn't. He's made a lot of
He's trying to dabble in something he don't know much about. You know,
he's good at what he does.
Hire
but
the right
he's-
people.
But that's right.
He's the richest
let it roll.
NFL owner.
Right.
But his knowledge
His-
of
that can't get you
sport.
anywhere anymore. Though.
His knowledge in
The
other
salary
areas are
cap.
good, but maybe not.
He's in the
football.
wrong
It's a
sport. He should have
novelty.
bought baseball if he wants to be good because he's the richest. He should have
Yeah.
went into
Yeah.
baseball.
Well, he
He's in
set the
wrong
team
sport.
back 2 or 3 years when he hired Matt Rule,
Mhm.
who no NFL experience. Yeah, he had turned around 2 programs in college, but it turned out he's not an NFL
That's
coach.
right.
Will he win at Nebraska?
Such a
don't
hard
think
place to
anybody-
win at. I don't
It is
now.
now.
I mean,
It
we're
is now.
sitting here saying this right now. When 20 years ago, that was.
I did see they stole a big time recruit though. It might have
Yeah.
been from Notre Dame. Brett might have been one that told me that.
But,
that Notre Dame big recruit, maybe a 5-star
If
decommitted.
if anybody can, turn it around. When I say turn it around, let's forget about the Tom Osborne era.
Yeah.
Let's just turn
Yeah.
the program around. And know.
Let's go 8-5.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
they can't even do that.
Exactly.
I mean,
Jason, who is watching this morning from Orlando,
Orlando.
says, yes, it was Kajana Carter in that 95 draft with Kerry Collins. He says the Panthers could get back some of the draft picks they lost by trading with Houston. If Houston is desperate to get their quarterback, I can see Houston willing to make a trade up to the number 1 spot.
that could be.
Yep.
What he's saying could be maybe we don't know the whole piece to the puzzle.
where's
Maybe
Houston-
there's another piece
where's
that's
Houston
going to fall into
picking?
place.
Where are they picking? They got to be near the top.
I don't know.
But why, if you're the Panthers, though, why did you go through all this? I wouldn't think. Now, I may be totally wrong, but I wouldn't think they had in mind that we're going to trade it now, that number 1 pick. I mean, I think they did. I think, and they may be bluffing about C.J. Stroud. It don't matter. It don't matter who they're talking about right now.
Right.
But they have the option right now to get the one they want.
That's right.
And if you trade down, what if you? I mean, I don't know why you would trade down and not have just stayed where you were.
Yeah.
Right.
But you had the number.
Yeah.
You had the number 9
Yeah.
overall.
That's the only thing right there. But it doesn't mean they won't. Stranger things have happened. Maybe they get these guys in workouts and then trade because they say, he's not what I thought he
Right.
was.
Well, now the consensus number 1 pick before some stuff has come down was it not the Georgia defensive lineman?
He was
Jalen
there when
Carter?
I was reading last night that they thought maybe because of some of the the stuff that went on
Yeah.
that he might even be available at that
Number
9
9.
slot, and the Bears were more. They felt like they were more in need of that player. The one defensive player that I read that was considered above Carter was the linebacker at Alabama.
Yeah, Anderson.
Will
Will
Anderson.
Anderson, yeah.
That talked like they thought he would be the first defensive
First defensive
player.
I would be interested in knowing who's got the 8th pick.
Yeah.
Because the Bears
Don't
sit
have it
there
all.
at number 9 and think they're going to get that
Right.
big defensive player out of Georgia.
And they
all of
didn't
a
say
sudden
that's-
they snap them up.
And they didn't say that Carter, I believe Jalen Carter, I believe is his name. They weren't saying that was the Bear, but that was an option that they thought was a need. And
Well, the Bears have tried to do it with defense, and that's what they've always been known for. But the problem is their offense.
right,
Brett says if this draft had Joe Burrow or Trevor Lawrence, I would like the first pick better.
Yeah.
Okay, Brett, my question would be, did you know that ahead of time?
We
Did you
didn't
know
know
that?
that.
We know that now.
Yeah.
We know that now, 2-3 years in. We know.
Mhm.
But did you feel the same way about those guys before the draft? Now, don't get me wrong. Joe Burrow had a great career, and he just ran the table and destroyed everybody in his path. And so did Lawrence.
Yep.
They did.
They did.
But they also played maybe on the best college team, and they both turned their franchises around. I give
Right.
them a lot of credit for that. Where they're at. They both, I think as much Trevor Lawrence turning around the new coach there, Peterson, had a lot to do with
and
it
I
too.
guess this is me kind of thinking outside the box. Did the Panthers want to go in and take their lumps again this year and hope that, from all this is not the Carolina coming out of me, but, Drake May, they're saying if he could come out right now,
He would be high, very high.
So you feel like
That's
next
right.
year he will,
And,
but
Well, they say there's 2
would-
quarterbacks that are coming back. You mentioned May, but also Caleb Williams.
yeah,
out of
right
USC.
at USC, and take your licks and wait till next year and you'll be right to probably even a higher draft pick, but you don't know that. And these Panther fans, they're tired of saying wait till next year.
I don't know whether another 4 and 13 year.
Reich's under pressure to maybe we're not saying win, but let's see progress. Right out of the gate. And
I guess I'd like to know who are some of the names that pop up next year as competition for Drake May to be that.
You're right.
Yeah, some of those guys. But Jason says that the I've already forgot that quick. Atlanta has the 8th pick. Atlanta's not picking defense. They never pick defense. So I wouldn't think. I mean, you're talking about a team that's in disarray right now.
They're in need of a quarterback
yeah,
too, aren't
they are in desperate need
So-
of a quarterback. And while we're on the subject, and we're getting ready to take our first break here in just a minute or two, franchise quarterback, I mean, Lamar Jackson this week, was what did they call that franchise tag? It was a little different where teams can talk to him even though he's franchised.
If they can come up with a better offer.
Yeah. I just wonder, would he go somewhere do they have to outbid? Do they have to go higher than the Ravens
I don't
offer?
know.
If they do, I would offer that and $1.
I would
because he's probably ready to get out of there.
Yeah.
If somebody offered just $1 over them,
I think the Jets should look at him before they're looking at Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers going to be there, 1 year?
This is kind of the
Favre
thing, isn't it? How long are you going to have him?
He's 39.
Are you going for right now because
it could be the exactly same thing. If he goes to the Jets, it could be the exactly
that's what
same.
they did with Favre.
That's what they did with Favre. That's
Lamar Jackson's 26?
And that might be why they're sitting where they've been for so long, the Jets, because of
that. They always make mistakes.
Do you like the NFL better today or 30 years ago when the franchises and the GMs and the owners controlled where players played? And today, there's no doubt in every sport. It's not just football. All 3 major sports.
The sports is more balanced, but I guess I'm old school. I like the old days, but now at least
2 of the 3 are more balanced. Yeah. I wouldn't say baseball.
Yeah, no,
it's very balanced and
but the rules and the franchise tags and the caps and
30 teams in baseball. Is that what it is?
You're right.
10 of them are farm teams.
Yeah,
basically, you go play there in, I'll say it, Pittsburgh. You go play there for a few years, and we'll find you a spot.
Cincinnati has
become,
which is
find you.
In the old days, that's crazy. Cincinnati being
Jason says Drake May, Caleb Williams are projected to be the first 2 in this draft, and
and they're probably more skilled and have more pro potential than this year's field of quarterback.
And here's what it was. Lamar Jackson got the non-exclusive. That sounds like a vacation. That non-exclusive. Well, you could take a vacation with what he's going to get paid. Franchise tag. If a team wants to sign him, they have to give up 2 first-round picks.
Okay, that's
2 first-round picks along with his new contract. You have to take his contract.
Yes, you take his contract. What it was offered, but. The draft picks is what's
that hurts.
Stands out there, but you got to
the Ravens can match, and then the Ravens still have the opportunity to match it. They no matter what you offer, they still have that opportunity to match it.
Do you think Lamar has been hurt by the fact that he represents himself? He apparently doesn't have an agent, and
I don't.
Okay.
Because if he's getting that non-exclusive franchise tag,
I don't know.
I mean, he's getting that's the average of the top 5, right? Take the top 5 paid quarterbacks in the league, and you're going to be right in the middle of that top 5.
Yep.
I don't think he's hurt at all by not having an agent.
Okay.
I think, and I like Lamar, and I like what he brings to the game, but I think the one thing is availability. You have to be on the field.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And that's what has not happened the last couple of years.
And you get back a while ago, you were talking about Fields running. Same way with Jackson. He can throw, but he runs, and how durable. How long? How many more hits can you take?
And that's going to be the case with Fields. He's rushing for 1,000 yards, and if he keeps doing that, and that's the focus of their offense, he's bound to get hurt.
I don't think teams fear the Ravens like they did 5-10 years ago. You know what I mean? I just don't
No.
think teams fear them right now like they did. We're going to take a quick timeout. Appreciate you tuning in to Sports Talk this morning. Be back with more here in just a moment.
You did not have.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com.
Stifel Nicholas now has an office in your community. Stifel Nicholas is a full-service organization offering a wide range of investment vehicles and services. These include money market funds, CDs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, retirement plans, and managed accounts, to name a few. Our financial advisors will sit down with you and help you tailor an investment plan, explaining strategies and investments which may help you achieve your personal goals. Call 4 Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange.
Welcome back. Glad to have you with us here on a Saturday morning. David Kiever, Mike Powell, Lenny Anthony setting in for Brett today, and so we've been through a lot of the football world there over the last few minutes. Of course,
football continues to make news.
It's NFL's powerful.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Let's face it,
It's
NFL's
always,
powerful because with all these conference tournaments going on, that really stole the show yesterday.
Yeah, it sort of did.
And it
stole
happened
the thunder
late in the evening on a Friday.
Yep.
The reason a lot of that's done, no media will be in the building till Monday, so they got whenever they swarm the Panthers facility asking questions, they get a couple days to think about how they want to answer.
How they want to respond to those questions. Yeah.
If Rodney, I'll go ahead and tell you, if you're on TuneIn, I think there's issues with TuneIn this morning because Brett said he turned it on and it was playing TuneIn ads at times. It was playing TuneIn ads,
but it's still playing
not
our
ours,
content,
so.
right? Still playing our content.
I guess.
Yeah. Well,
Does that worry you, Mike?
no.
Yeah. I thought Mike wasn't concerned about anything other than Facebook because he wants people to see him.
I want to be seen and heard.
More chasing that neon rainbow.
Chasing that neon rainbow. Chasing that pie in the sky.
Yeah, I didn't know if you would recognize that I knew those lyrics or not from Alan Jackson's
Alan Jackson.
Neon Rainbow. Does you guys' phone have voice activation and stuff? Since we've been back on the air, mine's trying to say every single thing that I say.
That you say.
Yeah. And the funny part is, I don't remember saying that one word in there that starts with the F and is 4 letters, but no, it wasn't nice. Gotta love phones for today. I upgraded about 6 weeks ago. And
the F word could be misleading.
It
could be
is.
like that word for flagitate too. So.
Yeah. That
would be better.
It
Maybe.
would, yeah. At this point, yeah, it would. But I'm haven't got all the bells and whistles figured out on that thing yet because it can operate without me. I found that out. It can operate without me. And,
maybe it can replace you.
And I'll say this, Rodney, it's got your name there on the. Maybe it can replace. That's right. I can do it from home. But Rodney, if you get a text from me, that some of those words are made up. I don't know who's typing on that end. But it wasn't me.
Maybe it's that new AI chat thing where it actually does typing and thinking and puts out copy.
Well, I think it's typing, but I'm not very sure it's thinking.
Yeah.
Because some of the stuff I just don't know where it come from. So kind of strange. But we'll get that sorted out here in a little bit. I just will make sure if anybody gets a text from me today, you might want to reach out and let me know. I would like to know because this thing's operating on its own right now. We've been talking about football and the trades and all that. Even if you go into ESPN's page today, guys, the first thing that pops up there, McShay's updated NFL mock draft. How does the Panthers-Bears trade shake up the top 10? And as long as the Panthers aren't bluffing, it's not. It doesn't look like they're going to take the. I don't know why it keeps slipping my mind. The Alabama quarterback's name is Bryce Young. Yep, hit me as soon as I asked. Okay. Bryce Young.
Couldn't remember it.
And looks really good. Looks really good on the field. While he's standing. Looks very fragile though to me as well. Looks very fragile to me as well. So we'll just have to see how that works out. And if he's not taken with that first pick by the Panthers, and it is Stroud or Levis or whoever else, the big guy from Florida is getting a lot of.
He's getting a lot
of
Richardson
attention right now because of his combine, basically because of what he did at the combine that a lot of others couldn't do. Just a big guy, big frame. The hits aren't going to bother him like they would some of these other guys that don't look like. And but then I saw. When the guy was giving his spiel the other day on one of the shows I was watching, they said, "So what's the drawback?" and the guy instantly said 54% completion rate.
Yeah,
the accuracy's
not
there.
accurate.
The accuracy's
That's
not
the
there.
thing.
And we know how important that is, especially in the NFL, even more so than in the college basketball.
It's awful risky.
Yep, the college basketball ranks. I wanted to talk a little bit of NCAA basketball and just go through a few of the scores from last night, what it sets up. You know, all of a sudden, the Buckeyes. Have you seen what the Buckeyes have done?
Yeah.
The Buckeyes, who love or hate, whichever. I think most people have one or the other in mind when it comes to the Buckeyes, either love or hate. And most people in this neck of the woods, it's probably hate more than it is anything else. But their basketball team has come to life here in the tournament. I was trying to find yesterday they defeated
Michigan State.
Michigan State.
Yeah, and before they'd beaten Northwestern.
And before that, they had beaten Iowa.
Yeah, so that's
So they've got. You sure they beat Northwestern, or was that somebody
Northwestern
else?
still. They won.
Northwestern lost last night.
They lost last night,
but I can't remember.
But it
They lost
wasn't to Ohio
Penn State, wasn't it?
Penn State.
Penn
That's
State
right.
who beat
Thank
Northwestern
you.
last night.
Thank you. Yeah.
But it was right at the buzzer.
Yep.
Number one, Houston. Will Houston be the number one seed when we get overall number one seed? You guys think they'll reward
Kansas
Houston?
I think if Kansas wins the Big 12,
even if Houston wins their tournament,
I think they will. That's just
they have so many quad one wins. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's it's much harder. Harder schedule.
Big 12. That when push comes to shove at the end, I think they probably need to win.
Yeah.
The Big 12 championship.
Yeah. And they are 1 or 2 games away from doing that. Is their championship today as well?
Let me think a minute.
And it was last night.
No, it's today.
Okay, they beat Iowa State last night, but I didn't know if that
Texas
was the semis or the quarters.
Texas and Kansas, I believe, are the championship. Yeah. I believe.
Is that a?
I might be wrong, but I think it's today.
Is that a given that Kansas will win that game, or is that going? Or how'd they do during the regular season? Do you guys remember?
I don't remember.
Between Texas and Kansas. If I had to guess, it just automatically, if they played twice, I would expect they split.
Yeah.
Kansas has 6 losses.
And I think they play everybody, don't they? In that conference. I think it's not like
they do.
Schedule,
they play everybody.
Twice, I guess.
Because in football, they play everybody.
Yeah, because they're the Big 12, but they're really
11.
They're not 12 in there.
It's either
now.
10 or 11.
I mean, but they just kept
the name. That's right.
Number 2, UCLA beat Oregon 75-56.
They play Arizona.
Arizona, yep. Arizona rolled, I think, in their semi game last night, maybe by about 20.
I don't see UCLA getting the number 1 seed. They're going to be one of the top 4.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too.
They'll be the number 1 seed in a region.
Basically, that's what you shoot for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to me, I mean, you want to be a 1 or a 2.
1 or a 2.
So you don't have to play the 1 till the end of the regional, but.
Yeah, and I'm like you. I think UCLA will get they won't be the 1 because, and this shouldn't matter, but somebody got hurt for them and is out for the season.
Mm-hmm. That is sad.
And that's, that should not have any effect on how they're seeded. It might, it may have an effect on how they play. But,
oh yeah.
But that's just like was.
But it's right here.
Oh, yeah.
And those people, it's mental, and those people know that happened.
Yeah.
And so you can't take – the problem is you can't pull that out of their head
right.
because they do realize that you lost one. Just like Miami lost a starter last night.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't they not say he's out for the season as well? Or
they
was it determined yet?
They hadn't. In fact, they were rapping.
Okay.
I think maybe if it would have been close late, real close, because they were rapping it. But they had said earlier he is out for the night.
Okay.
You know.
I might have him
so I don't think
it's
not completely because he went and had x-rays there in the Coliseum and it was negative.
Negative.
But, that don't mean you can have a bad sprain as bad as a break.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
And it might be more his tolerance level. How much can he tolerate, too, but I don't think he's considered – they said it was unknown in the next week, So I don't think he's counted out, but they don't know.
We talked about Kansas, and you guys think if they win out, they'll be the overall number 1 seed, deservingly so. Is Iowa State in the tournament?
Iowa State.
They lost yesterday in the semifinals, 19-13 overall, 9 and 9.
They got to be on the bubble, 19 to 13.
They've been hot lately.
Yeah, they have.
Until yesterday. They've been pretty hot lately, but yesterday.
Well, I don't know how many quad 1 wins.
Well, they probably, you said Iowa State.
Yeah.
They probably got a good many because
they're
every
conference.
night you play in the Big 12.
You're getting a quad 1 win.
And if you got 9 wins, you probably got
4 or 5.
And,
I think they're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
I
though
still
they're
don't
not-
understand how because I saw on Twitter this week and everybody had a different opinion
I
of
don't
what
like
was
to say.
considered.
We can talk all day.
There's a home court grade. There's a road grade.
The quad
and then
wins
there's a
and the
neutral
net.
grade.
I think it's.
And I saw somewhere where somebody said
confusing.
if you beat a top 50 team on a neutral court, that's a quad 1 win. Well, it's not to me.
Yeah.
A top 50? I mean, why a 50 on a neutral court? That would be a quad 3 in my mind.
We've
But
got
2
to,
or 3.
We've got to the we've got to the analytics so much, but there is still something called the eye test.
I know.
When
Yeah.
is this just like last night, and I saw that, and I'm not a big Joe Lenardi fan, but last night now
Bubble?
State's the last 4 in. And right below them is Pitt, the last 4 in, and even after Clemson's still
First 4 out.
Yeah, and I think the ACC's been so disrespected on this
It has.
quad
It has
wins and all
been.
because you sit there looking at Clemson
14 and
is
6
out.
in the
At
conference.
14 and 6, they split with Duke during the regular season.
Beat NC State
They beat
3
NC State
times.
3 times.
And twice by more than 20.
Yeah.
How do you do that? I was going to ask you guys that today. How have they dominated NC State?
and
What's the key there?
And you're saying
Answer his question because he's not able to sleep at night every day.
I just don't understand it.
it's just. I think
Matchups make games.
I think
I
they've been
guess.
disrespected, and I heard Luke Hancock talking last night about Pitt, talking about how they'd been, and I agree with him. He said last year Notre Dame was their net was 77, and they got in. They were the last team in. He said they beat Rutgers. He said, and then Miami was a 62 their net last year. He said, and we know what they did. He said they went to Kansas, beat them in the
Elite Eight.
Elite Eight.
Yeah.
He said, and here we got Pitt sitting there. I believe their net was 56. He said, don't give me that malarkey that they shouldn't be in. And I'm kind of,
Yeah, I think.
I mean,
Pitt should
Carolina
be
got
in.
beat by Virginia. They're still talking, and I'm a Carolina fan, but they're talking about they're in until they got a chance to be in. And then you're looking at these other teams and saying they're not in, and they're still playing.
Well, we'll get into that because I want to ask you a couple questions. I'm going to read what Rodney sent me. He said, Lenny makes a good point about UCLA and their recent injuries. Guard Jalen Clark went down with a torn Achilles in the regular season finale last weekend and was the team's best defender and second leading scorer. Then freshman big man Adam Bona
B-O-N-A.
left last night's game with the shoulder injury and was unable to return. So we don't know. I guess
So
we'll find
don't
out
know
more
his
about that
status.
today. They went from a top 5 favorite to who knows how deep is the bench. In most cases, the benches are not good enough
Not
to get
good
you.
Not good enough.
Not good enough to get you a top 4 seed. And when I say a top 4, I'm talking about really a top 16.
You're talking about a top 1 seed in the 4.
Yeah, I would say I don't even know if it gets you a top 4 seed in the region.
Right.
I mean, I hope it does because they've earned that right to be there all year long. But I don't know. Like I said, you cannot take that out of the people's minds that know you got hurt.
I think back years ago, I believe it was Cincinnati was everybody assumed they were going to be the overall number 1 seed, and then Quanzo Martin got hurt.
Right.
And they still stayed A1.
Lost
but they
early.
dropped in the 1 seed. They were going to be the number 1.
The one.
Yeah. And
So they wound up probably being the 4.
yeah, 3 or 4. I can't remember now, but
I would have still took that for me. I would have still taken that because as long as I'm a 1 in my region, you're gonna face the other guys when you get there anyway if they're good enough to make it, and you do. Brett said, "Here's the stat: Syracuse and Louisville joined the ACC in 13 and 14. Neither has made an ACC tournament final.
Yeah.
Now, Louisville, I'm not so shocked about, but Syracuse had some really good teams along the way. It seems like that would have been in an ACC. He said
Well,
semifinal, now, much less a final.
But
They hadn't even made
No,
Louisville and Syracuse not even made a
Haven't made it.
They haven't
semi.
done anything in the tournament. Syracuse hadn't under
Yeah.
Boeheim.
Boeheim.
Now.
We saw that this week on the New York Post.
New York Post.
They've
headline,
made their
Boeheim.
like the last. Well, they won't make it this year, and they didn't make it last year. And the last 3 or 4 years, Syracuse was getting in right at the. They were kind of on the bubble getting in. But when you get in the NCAA film with that 2-3 zone,
Yeah.
people hadn't seen it.
Yeah, they
and they've done well in the. 1 year they made a run to the Final Four.
Four.
When I believe the year Villanova beat
Yeah,
North
I
Carolina.
corrected Brett. I said semifinal. They haven't even made a semifinal.
Yeah, their track has been they scrape by.
That's amazing.
In the regular season, eke in the tournament,
Eke in the
and then
tournament.
they make a run.
And like I say, in the ACC, when the time you get to the tournament, every team in the league, not every team because it's unbalanced, but you might have seen that zone 2 times. So the third time, I think you
That
struggle
zone
with
ain't
it.
what it used to be
Yeah.
because I saw Duke when Duke played them in the Carrier Dome, and Duke just shredded it.
Yeah.
And they're not typically a great shooting outside team.
Now, I know you guys should know the answer to this question. Brett sent me this last night, and I kind of knew it, but I was just amazed yet to read it again, okay? Did you know that this school has more ACC titles and championship game appearances than Clemson? This school has more ACC titles and championship game appearances.
Are they still in the league?
Clemson. No, they're not.
Maryland.
No.
But Maryland?
Mm-mm. No. And Maryland probably. Well, there's no doubt Maryland does.
Yeah.
That would be. But
South Carolina.
yes,
South
Carolina.
Carolina. Yeah.
yes, they were in the ACC for 18 years. Clemson has been in there 70,
Yeah.
and South Carolina
See,
has.
South Carolina left the league with a championship.
They did.
When,
71,
Lee
72.
Devin got out jumped.
Lee Dedman got out
Got
jumped
out
by
And,
who was the 6-foot guard who
It's Kevin
out-jumped?
Joyce.
Kevin Joyce.
Kevin Joyce, yeah.
6'11" versus 6 foot on a key jump ball.
Well, one of them jumped and the other didn't.
Turn it
Yeah.
off.
Lanny has high regard for the.
Turn it off. I'm not going to. I'll tell you after.
Rodney also says South Carolina. So let's go through the rest of these scores right quick. We're approaching another timeout here for me to botch. Let's see. It was Mississippi State losing to Alabama. Now, Mississippi State played pretty well. Alabama's still the best team when they're clicking. You guys think so? If they play their best, if they go out on the court and play their best, nobody's going to beat them.
You mean in the SEC?
No.
Or nationally.
Nationally.
Yeah. Well,
It just looks like if they go out, but the problem is they're not going to play their best every night. We've seen that. They're just not going to play their best every single night. But boy, they did last night. I mean, they put a hurting on Mississippi State last night.
yep.
72-49. It was over by halftime when it was already 41-21, already a 20-point lead.
Here's a surprise that's making a late push in the Southeast Conference, which might end up bumping somebody within their own conference. Vanderbilt has really made a
They're-
late
Yes, they
run
have.
here. I mean, they beat
Yes, they
Kentucky
have.
They're
last
trying to
night,
punch their
but I
ticket.
believe I heard that they won 6 out of the last 7.
Yeah.
And that's
It's been a while since they've been relevant, much less a factor moving.
Jerry
into-
Stackhouse leading the way.
How about that? How about that?
They knocked off
Doing a good
Kentucky
job.
last
Beat
night.
Kentucky last night.
87-3.
Yeah, that's a nice win for them too, to beat a ranked team in the tournament.
Well, they're
That,
20-13,
that-
11-7 in the SEC. They got a chance to get in.
yeah.
Rutgers beat Purdue. Purdue beat Rutgers. Let me rephrase that: 70-65. Marquette over UConn. Marquette's ranked
points.
number 6 in the country, guys. They're
Chaka Sabar.
Shaka
we'll
Smart.
see what happens there. 70-68. They win that one last night. Texas over TCU, 66-60. Arizona over Arizona State, 78-59. Virginia over Clemson by 20. I thought it would be closer. I really did, and didn't see Virginia scoring 76 points either.
No, that's
Above the average, right?
definitely.
76-56. Duke over Miami. A lot of points put up in this game, 85-78. Duke scored a lot of points in their 2 ACC tournament games.
96 and
Moving
85.
Yep. It was Xavier defeating Creighton, 82-60. Missouri over Tennessee, 79-71. Texas A&M, 67. Arkansas, 61. Indiana eliminates Maryland. But now Maryland's still going to be a
I think
big
so.
dance team, right? Because they're 21-12 and 11-9 in the conference. But Indiana, 70, Maryland 60. Late last night, San Diego State 64, San Jose State 49, and the one you guys were just talking about, Vanderbilt 20-13, 11-7 in conference. That's a tournament team to me. They beat Kentucky 80-73. Of course, if they win, when's the championship of that? Is it
It's
today?
Sunday.
Sunday.
This
okay.
is just the semifinals.
So you still got Tennessee. Missouri. You
Alabama
still got
plays Missouri, and Vanderbilt plays Texas A&M.
Texas
Right.
A&M. Yep.
Texas A&M making a little noise.
Is Buzz Williams a top 10 coach in college basketball?
I would
Put Marquette back on the map, right?
I would put him right in there.
Yeah.
Everywhere he's been, he's won. He's always been more of a rebuilder of programs, and then he moves on up to another level. But I think going to Texas A&M, he's originally from somewhere in Texas, so I think that was part of the. Plus, they laid the money on him. He kind of got a Jimbo Fisher
Easy
type
now.
contract.
You keep going. Mike Powell's going to hate him in a minute if you keep talking about him switching jobs because of the paycheck. Mike Powell don't like those guys that switch jobs because of the paycheck being. Because Mike would never leave his job to double his salary.
What I'm disappointed is we had a transfer from Duke, Henry Coleman. Now he's playing very well for Texas A&M.
I would not add him to Duke's roster right now because
No,
I
no.
think they're actually.
Well, he got
I
lost.
think they're
He
actually-
got lost in the mix a couple years ago.
Don't you think Duke's actually clicking at the right time?
And
I mean,
just
they're
didn't get the
healthy
opportunity to
Oh,
play
absolutely, yeah.
that first year.
That was
much.
2 years ago. So,
You know it.
Yeah.
I think he came in when Mark Williams and
Yeah.
I think he's in that class.
that
Mark
class.
Williams and they had another guy. Seemed like also off that went to I think went to Mississippi State. Don't know if he's there now.
Yeah,
but,
you're right. He did go to
but
Mississippi
it was
State.
I can't even remember his name.
Well, this day and time, find me a college basketball team out there that don't have somebody that left and is playing for somebody
Oh,
else.
yeah,
it's
but,
totally
now with the
different
portal.
now. Yeah.
And every team you tell me that's got one that left and is playing for somebody else has one from somewhere else that is also.
I mean, it's
That's just the way it is now. That's just the way it is. And
Isn't Pittsburgh's team made up mainly?
It is. It is.
transfer
I
portal?
read early in the year. I believe when they played Carolina first game, said they had one player back
Yeah,
that was on the roster last year,
so that's the way it is.
and that was and he's good. It was the Burton kid,
Yeah.
Tyrese Burton.
Well, Boeheim said they bought their team.
But,
Don't you
yeah.
remember? About a month ago, Boeheim he
And I
said,
heard him-
name 3 teams: Wake Forest, Pitt, and who was the other one? He named
Miami?
3.
Is it
Wake
Miami?
Forest.
It might have been Miami.
Is Miami.
Yeah, but you know what? Try and fight it. Can't do it anymore. If they want to buy their team,
Yes,
they can buy their team.
Yep.
Every team in there has the same opportunity.
That's exactly.
We're going to take a timeout. Appreciate you tuning in to Sports Talk this morning. We'll see if we can't get this one running very smoothly here as we take our next break. We will be back here. Let's see. I already know something I've messed up on. We'll be back here in just a moment. Thanks for tuning in.
Steeple.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver, or visit mooneyinsurance.com.
Stifel Nicholas now has an office in your community. Stifel Nicholas is a full-service organization offering a wide range of investment vehicles and services. These include money market funds, CDs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, retirement plans, and managed accounts, to name a few. Our financial advisors will sit down with you and help you tailor an investment plan, explaining strategies and investments which may help you achieve your personal goals. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC and the New York Stock Exchange.
Welcome back. Glad to have you with us here on Sports Talk. Went a little over the margin there with the loudness of my voice in my ear. My own, I know, is in the other guy's ears. Good topics this morning. Now we're going to get to the tough one, the one I want to talk about a little bit before we get into some high school sports and things like that, because it is state championship Saturday.
It is.
In Chapel Hill and Raleigh today with
we thought we might be there, but we're not.
Yes. Yep, we covered Lincoln Charter and the boys and the East Lincoln girls last week, and both of them were eliminated last week in the regional championships. Reidsville and Farmville Central should be one heck of a game, I would think, today.
You saw Reidsville.
I did. Freshmen combined for 45 of their 75 points. Yeah, the two freshmen combined for 45.
But one of the good football players, too, that played basketball. Both of them.
Both.
I knew.
Deontay Neal and something Harrison, and Harrison's a 6'8" kid.
Because I remember you talking back in football season, there's a freshman, a real good football player that was.
Brett's sending me a message about Sullivan. He's not going to join us this morning. So
okay.
Got things to do. T-balled it.
Well, he doesn't have any
T-ball
donuts.
practice today.
Which lures him here every week.
Rodney says, I heard Led Zeppelin right before you came back. Well, don't complain about that. If you got to hear some Led Zeppelin before you came back.
Hey, that's always a good thing.
Yep, that was on the TuneIn app, I guess, for some odd reason. But yeah, don't knock Led Zeppelin. All right, here we go. I'm gonna ask Lenny. Lenny, hopefully he'll be honest with me. First of all, and I'll let Mike tell his opinion too, since he's on the other side. Do you think Carolina will be in the tournament?
No.
Mike?
No, I just don't think they have the resume. No, I know they're a blue blood and
they're a brand.
Everything else.
They got
they're
a brand,
but
And it helps, and it helps. I hate to say it this way. It helps fill up arenas.
Yeah.
Especially if it would be in Charlotte, Greensboro, Greenville, something in driving distance, which you never know how that's going to work out. I mean, you might be in Albuquerque for all you know, and it would sell tickets.
You're right.
I think Carolina and Duke both would sell tickets in Albuquerque. It doesn't matter really where you are because it is
national brand names.
And I think they think I'm talking about the quad 1 wins and all this. Duke's really got better and they're really playing well, right? But I think early in the year when Carolina and Duke were down in the middle of the pack in the conference, I think that's what hurt the conference on these quad, because you had Clemson, and we know Miami's good, but you still had Clemson, Miami, and Pitt for most of the regular season sitting at the top of the conference standing. Where's Duke? Where's Carolina? And that made everybody. But
that's why they get disrespected.
Other teams can have good ball teams,
agree, Well, Miami's come a long way under Larinaga to be where they are.
To answer the question, I don't mean to get off, but you asked me, do I think?
Yeah, I wanted you to tell me why.
If we have Carolina, if you look at the eye test, when they're good, they're top. They ought to be in the tournament. But where I say they shouldn't be is, how can you take them and you make a Clemson,
leave somebody out,
or a Pitt, or and I don't even know why State, let's just say State, make one of them have to sit home because of the brand. Is that about, it's just not fair. That's.
Here's another question for you, Lenny. Why do you think Carolina faltered this year when they were picked number one?
We were going to get to that at the end. We were going to get to that at the end. Just think of that. We're going to get to that at the end because my next question, first of all, I wanted to know this. I don't know what the committee. I don't know what I threw in some humidity with that. I don't know what the committee. I would assume that every person on the committee that selects is different and has different opinions. Do you, and you, Mike, put more value in quality wins or bad losses? Which one? I'll tell you mine first, straight up. Because losing is so bad, mine's bad losses.
Yeah.
I mean, I just automatically I look at bad losses more than I look at quality wins.
From that standpoint, then, that's what the ledger is against Clemson.
And under that scenario, that's a good thing for Carolina.
Right. Yeah. It is.
Because they have zero bad losses.
Zero. That's right.
Now here's the one that's really going to be tough for you to answer, I think, Lenny. Is this the most disappointing Carolina season since you followed them? And that's a long time. Because of what they did last year, who they had coming back, you're one win, not a game away. You're one win away.
One half, really.
Half away.
They had a double-digit lead at halftime against Kansas, right?
They never recovered from that half, Lenny. Now, as I think about it, they never recovered from that second half.
Somebody had sent a text out the other night, said Carolina was still in the locker room in, where was it, New Orleans, wherever. Said they hadn't come out of the dressing room since
I'll tell you as a Duke fan, I can't tell you a season, but I can tell you a most disappointing loss for me was losing to UConn in, tell me the year,
99,
Mike.
Baby.
99.
I still say that was the most talented Duke team.
I don't know if that was, but when you lose one like that.
Assassin and that group.
Yep.
Yes.
Boozer.
Amin on the.
Yeah.
What was his name?
El Amin.
Khalid
El Amin.
Khalid El Amin.
And they were good. They were good. I'm not taking anything away. They played a great game and won that game, but that's a very disappointing loss because you thought, this is a golden opportunity for Duke to get another championship, and they didn't. But I want to know about the whole season because
when you asked me, is that the season because I'm used to Carolina always winning.
Mm-hmm. And hopefully the other guys that pull for Carolina weigh in.
One year
their
when
opinion.
I don't know if it's Matt Dark when they had when I didn't want to turn the TV on because
they were
didn't
bad.
have a chance to win.
But they weren't coming off a Final Four appearance, right?
Right. Oh no, but
four starters.
But I said this to somebody last spring when it said all these guys is coming back.
I remember you telling me this.
And I told her, I said,
you told me.
He said, they ought to walk. I said, well, I'm going to say this. I said, I know where they was at the end of the season, but I know where they was at 4 weeks before that.
Before that.
And I don't know if anything's changed. And
right.
And I think hindsight, I ain't saying I was right, but I wasn't saying because I wouldn't. I felt like they would. I'm disappointed in the way they ought to be in NCAA, and they may yet, but I don't think so.
Did you not think all season long that the switch would eventually click though at some point?
I think everybody
to a
did.
degree, yeah. I think almost
I
like
did.
it's almost
I
like
did
it's
too.
playing to get to March, you know. And
I thought they would click, and when they had Duke at home in the last regular season game, senior day, and all that, it didn't happen then, and so they didn't take a lot of momentum into the tournament, and then losing it to Virginia in their second.
I just saw something I didn't realize, guys. The last stretch has hurt them. They've lost 7 out of 12.
7 out of 12.
Yeah, they're reeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I just started counting here because I saw more red L's than I saw green W's, and started counting them, and they lost 7 of their last 12, and that included a 3-game winning streak.
I told my daughter when
over bottom dwellers,
when,
2 of them.
I believe it's when Miami beat them. They beat Clemson on a Saturday.
Yes,
and
91-71.
Miami
they rolled
beat
in
them
that
Monday
game.
night. It was one of them quick turnovers.
Yep.
I told her then.
And on the road, wasn't
I
it?
told her. I said.
No, it was home.
I said, well, we can't. We had Florida State and Notre Dame on the road to finish. I said, them's 2 bad losses. You can't lose those 2.
No.
I said, if they can win, if they can finish 5-1, I think they'll make it. I said, because I was already thinking they're going to go to State on this. That was next State on Sunday, and I said they're laying there waiting on them because they're and
A game
said,
they lost by 8.
I said they're going to go there. They'll probably lose. I said, but they got to win out from there. You know, they got and they won 4 out of 2.
They won at Notre Dame. They won at Florida State, but they did lose.
It's State and Duke.
They did lose at home to Virginia in that 3-game win streak there.
They beat Virginia
in the
home,
middle of those.
at home, didn't it?
They did.
Yeah.
Beat Virginia
That's why I said
at home.
They need to beat Virginia.
By 8.
I said they need to beat Virginia and Duke at home, and really needed to.
I think if they would have won one of the games, I think if they had won one of the Duke games,
Yeah.
they might
I
be
agree.
in.
Yeah.
They might be in.
Then
I
they don't
don't
put
know.
so much on with the Virginia having to win the Virginia game in the tournament.
Well, I think there's 2 things. One, I think they captured lightning in the bottle last year at the end of the year. But also, you realize now how important, was it Brady Manick? Was that his name? Was the transfer from Oklahoma was to that team. I think he carried them.
And I
during
thought Pete
that
Nance
big
would.
run.
I thought Pete Nance would continue that, but he was.
He's not really that.
He's too
He's
inconsistent.
not the outside shooter that
Yeah.
Manick was. He's
He might
good, but
score
he
you
does other
30,
things.
and then he might score you
Right.
4. You know, I mean, the consistency wasn't there for him. But back again to the thing I started with, you know, do you put more into? They didn't have many bad losses.
Who?
Carolina.
None.
Yeah, they didn't.
None.
Really have,
Absolutely.
I'm going down through here.
Absolutely.
They didn't really have any
Ranked
bad
on what
losses.
they call quad 3 and 4. None. 0. Absolutely. I know. We were talking. I
but
said,
they just have too many.
mid-season, I said they beat everybody that they should have beat, but they haven't beat for a long time. I said State was their best win, and then they finally beat Virginia, and Virginia was their best win. But you know they just didn't step up and beat anybody that was
going
right there with them, or
going
maybe
in
a little bit better.
reverse order. And they lost to Virginia a couple nights ago. They lost to Duke. They lost to NC State. They lost to Miami.
He lost to Pitt.
Wake Forest, Duke, and Pitt in a row.
Yeah.
That didn't help having the 3-game skid there.
The one that really
Virginia
hurt more than
again,
anything
Pitt.
is you need to beat Pitt at home. That was
a killer.
They lost to Virginia Tech on the road.
That was early. That before Christmas.
Indiana on the road, Alabama, and a very competitive
that
game.
was a bad run.
It don't
right?
get you a quad 1 win, but
I mean,
it was
you
a
know,
2-point game.
Close don't count. That's
Right.
where you got.
And then they won their first 5 to open the season, but now they supposed to win those. Portland, James Madison, Gardner-Webb, Charleston, and Wilmington.
And then they lost 4 in a row, didn't
They did. Yep. After they had won those games, they stepped into basically D1. After that, they stepped into playing D1 teams or power conference teams, I'll say. And they lost to Iowa State, Alabama, Indiana, and then Virginia Tech to open conference play.
The thing that's really bothered me all year, and they never corrected, and I don't know if it's you players don't listen, but even when they'd make a run, if it's behind and make a run and catch up, like 6 or 7, 8 minutes to go, they would go revert right back to settling on shooting 3-pointers. And I think you get more out of it when you attack the basket. And if you don't take the shot when you attack, you kick it out and you have open, contested threes. And I was sitting at the game the other night when they played Virginia. And, Carolina has always been known for the team that gets it down the floor.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Pitch ahead.
Transition
Pitch ahead.
basketball.
That's totally gone.
That was Roy Williams.
I don't know if that's a tweak that Hubert Davis, but I don't like it. You pitch ahead. You attack, and everybody will always say, "Well, you got to get back against Carolina." I don't know if you do anymore.
I agree. That used to be their forte.
Yeah.
No, I found out last night the one you better get back against is Miami.
Yeah, I mean,
because those horses are going to outrun you down the floor if you turn your head for a second. I was trying to get, we were talking about Brett sent me a message that their worst losses were Virginia Tech and Wake Forest, and then he puts under there Duke also lost to those two, so it's not like they're bad losses.
No,
but
and they were both on the road at their place.
Yep. But the big difference is Duke did win a lot of games against the teams that Carolina lost to. I mean, let's face it, they won. They finished with what, 6 losses on the season.
Yeah.
Clemson, did you say, Pooh? Duke.
No, Duke's got 8 losses.
Did Duke finish with 8 losses?
Yeah. 6 in the conference. They also lost to Kansas
and
Purdue.
If Duke wins tonight, or Virginia, okay, one of them is going to. It shouldn't be no or. Whichever wins tonight, how high of a seed do you think they'll get? If this committee thinks the ACC is not as good as usual, I mean, they're pretty close in losses, right?
Yeah.
So if Virginia wins, you could see that. Will they be a top 4?
Going into the,
I think they'll be a 4th.
I think it'll be a 4. Last week they were saying that Virginia was at the bottom. They were the bottom 3, number 3 in the 3 row. They were the bottom 3, but I don't know where they'll even be. If they win, I don't know if Virginia will be a 3, because I think the landscape has changed since last week. That's.
Yeah. I think,
I think a 4.
Will Duke be a top 4 if they win?
Yes, if they win, yes.
Yeah,
I think
I
it will.
too.
I think for 2 reasons. Number 1, just like we talked about Carolina. Number 1, their name
brand,
and number 2,
they're
hot at the right time,
and they're playing well.
They're hot at the right time.
And you get back again. You can say the analytics and all that. Look at the eye test.
Yeah.
Is Duke not playing?
Yes.
Do they not look like a top 16 team now?
Okay,
Yeah.
Rodney has already reworded my question. Rodney says, UNC fan here, not one of the worst seasons, 20-plus wins, pretty good year. They were competitive but not dominant, fell apart at the end, no really good shooters. Now, wait a minute. I think there's 2 or 3 really good shooters on that team. I would take Love on my team any day, shooting the ball. And last night, or one of the last few games, it was R.J. Davis that had tremendous shooting night.
Well,
so,
I'm going to disagree with you
on their shooting?
On one.
On Love?
I would not. I would let Love. I made the statement there the other night. I said, if anything good comes out of this,
he'll go on.
I hope I'll never see number 2 in that uniform again.
Yeah.
I've said that about many
I hope
players.
this is the last. I mean, he is a great athlete.
But he is, yeah. But he's streaky too. He's streaky. But when he's hot, he's hot. He's going to hit everything. But there are times he's not hot.
I don't like his demeanor on the floor. It's if something don't go right, he pouts. That's kind of the way I. Now RJ, I'm all in on him. Yeah. I mean, I think he's.
Both those guys sophomores.
They're juniors.
Juniors. I do want to read Rodney's last line because this is worst seasons were under Matt Doherty. The Matt Doherty days. He said they did have poor shot choices for those 2 guys I was talking about. But here was my question, right? I didn't say the worst season Carolina's ever had because it was by far not the worst.
Oh, no,
disappointing was the key word.
Right.
Remember,
disappointing. If I'm no good, I can swallow that better than being pretty good. But being in the national championship game the year before and 4 starters back, that's what I was getting at. The disappointment to not make it back, at least in the tournament.
Let's just get in.
I don't remember what year it was. My most disappointment was Roy one year that they just never could. They had a winning record, but they were like 17-14. They ended up going NIT, and I think they actually made a pretty deep run in it. But Dayton, I think, ended up beating them.
Wow.
But that was, I think they'd made it to New York, but that was, to me, that was Might have been the year after Hansbrough and them left, I'm saying, a year or two after they left.
Well, didn't they have a bottom-out season somewhere in there? They won, I don't know, they won
That was
like
the Matt
9
Doherty.
games. Okay.
When they bottomed out, that one year was
All
like
right.
9.
He was not a player's favorite.
No.
He was not a player's favorite as far as now. You got to have discipline and every that, and I can't say you can just do everything the players want, but they also have to like and respect you. And I don't think that was happening there at the time. Roger says Virginia would be a 6. He thinks if they win. Brett says Duke he thinks will move actually up to a 3 if they win, a 5 if they lose.
Well,
So,
that's a pretty good position to be in.
yeah. The 5 would still be almost like the 4 because you'd play,
Yeah.
the 4 or 5. But, and are they still do regionals like proximity?
They'll do the pod the first
Pod,
yeah.
first round.
You
Good
know,
old pods.
you
There
can
you
play-
go, Butch.
can
Good
play
old
close
pods.
close to home in the first two
First two
games,
games.
and then you go to wherever the
I expected to get something from, and I'm gonna call them out, Jason and Monty. I wanted to get their opinion on, is it the most disappointing Carolina season? Like I said, not the worst, Rodney. I agree with you. It wasn't the worst because they won a lot of games. They won a lot of games.
20 games.
But disappointing is different. I can promise you, if Duke's in a national championship and has 4 starters returning and don't make the
We'll be
tournament,
very disappointed.
Right. I still might not consider it the worst season they've had, but yes, the disappointment because I kept the talent's there to win it, not just get in it. The talent's there to win it. I mean, if it wasn't, they couldn't have went as deep as they did last year.
And I guess I try to read between the lines, but I hear Hubert Davis in his press conferences after a game, especially after a loss, talking about having to handle so many people.
Issues. Oh, okay.
Trainers, personal trainers, and I
You think
think that's Noah's. There's a whole lot more there to that than
Well,
I
I
think
mean-
he's got some players on the team that are hearing
He'll be glad to see them go.
hearing other things. Yeah,
like
he
you
wouldn't
will.
say that, but
Yeah.
but that's that's
Well, I think the jury's still out on him among.
Well, that was my
players.
next question to Lenny. That final follow-up is going to be, is he here for the long haul or not?
Yeah, it's a good question.
is that the question right now?
Yeah. How old is he?
He's 52, 3.
Oh, yeah,
He's got
He's young.
20 years
But-
left if he wants it.
Well, here's what I'm gonna say.
Oh, well.
I'm not throwing him. I'm not saying he's not the right man, but he was not Lenny's top choice when he was hired.
Who was
My
their
top choice is at Cincinnati right now, Wes Miller.
Wes
Okay.
That would have been my pick, but I'm not. He's there, and I'm not totally saying he's not the right man, but I think next year will be a good
Telltale year.
because
Could be.
it's at a place where they're not going to tolerate.
Well, here's the problem: you lose all
That's
those
right.
seniors. They barely played anybody off the bench, and so you're going to have to rely on the guys coming in
And
who are
it's-
freshmen, right?
Right.
Or a transfer
Or
portal.
transfer, you're going to have to go to
You
portal.
got to go to the portal.
Yeah, you're going to have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
course.
some reason,
So-
it don't put on here. What was their final? Here it is. Now I got it.
20
and
20
13.
and 13.
Which is not
No.
terrible. It's not terrible.
No, and you look at the people they played. I mean,
Right.
Oh, they played
Right.
They played a tough outside company. They
Yep.
just didn't get a lot of wins, and then there were some good wins that turned out not to be as good because Michigan and Ohio State
Yeah.
hadn't
yeah.
been
Faltered down the stretch.
Yeah, and
They did. They did fall.
and they
fall
could have
apart a
helped
little bit.
themselves. If I told Sarah, I said if they'd have beat Virginia the other night and the way Ohio State's playing, some of those bad wins can come back and be good wins if somebody's playing good late. It because it changes because
Yeah, it does.
at one time Ohio State was a good win, and then they went for about a month in the Big Ten and didn't win a game, and that went to all of a sudden turn into a bad win.
Is Ohio State 2 games over 500 or 2 under right
Two
now?
under.
2 under.
Two
Oh, I
under.
saw it and I couldn't
Two
remember.
under.
Couldn't remember which
I'm
it
sure
was.
they are because there's like 11.
So they're playing for their NCAA
Yeah,
tournament
they're gonna have to
lives.
win it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They
do
got to
have
win it.
Yeah, they got to win it.
Monty does weigh in. He said, says, probably the most disappointing season in my life. I do think that is basically the same average team as last year. They hit a hot streak at the right time.
Right.
Lenny's thoughts exactly. Thoughts exactly. Which player, if you could, out of those, and I'm not saying they won't come back, which player that played a lot of minutes would you want back more than any other?
R.J. Davis.
Over Baycott? I'm throwing out the senior year and thing. I'm just saying if
Baycott
any
can
of
be healthy,
he's had his problems
and,
staying healthy.
Yeah, I'm not really down. I think those are the two best players. Baycott and RJ are the two. But
who won the girlfriend sweepstakes? Did we ever find out? Did anybody?
Lindy's not going to touch
and
that
they
one.
deny that.
They
deny that.
Do they really?
They say that's
well, that don't leak out all across
was a Duke
nationwide.
Was a Duke thing
A
that was
Duke
started.
plant.
Well,
right?
maybe
Duke
it was.
propaganda.
And it might have been, but I think there was something somewhere. Now maybe if maybe it wasn't a basketball player, but there was. Something.
Yeah, I thought it was a player. The rumors that you read was as a player on the women's team on the Carolina.
I'm not here to
women's
say
team.
that, and they're denying that, and there's nothing. We're good and all that, but
right.
I don't. Something was
You know
there.
what? After I heard that, I tried to do. I'm going to tell you something I tried to do, and you can't do it. I wanted to see how much eye contact they made with each other on the court.
Yeah.
And how many times they threw each other the ball.
Just.
But I didn't really have anything to base it on because
Right.
I didn't really know how many times they did that.
You just right.
Under normal circumstances, but I don't know. I don't know if it was real or not, but there was something. You got to admit there was something with the chemistry. Something with the chemistry.
nothing else.
And the chemistry,
No
I
matter
think
what
has
it
been
was.
I think that's been the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I know Roy said when Villanova beat them, on the last shot in the dressing room, he said, "Okay, this is. I don't know who's coming back or not, but this is fuel. You know how you feel right now.
Yeah.
How bad you feel
Right.
about it. This is fuel
To get back.
to build for next year.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think Carolina's had that.
Right.
It's almost entitlement. When the season started, that we was in the Final Four last year.
It's almost they realized what was happening and it was too late.
Yeah.
It was too late
Yeah.
to change gears. We always talk that these certain teams can flip a switch and they're back. It didn't work for them.
That's right.
It didn't work. They tried and tried, but they just and they win a game or two, but then they'd drop two in a row or something like that. It's just
no consistency.
Yeah, I was more surprised when I looked at this, like I told you, that they lost 7 of their last 12, and that don't help you with the committee either. That don't help you with the committee,
Well, the big thing, they didn't shoot the ball from 3 like they did during that big run all season.
Yeah.
It was not consistent.
That's what he said. They got hot,
and they
last
kept
year
going
right
back
time.
to that.
Got
And,
hot
well,
at the right time.
they told this for the tournament. I believe they're next to last or last in the ACC in three-point shooting.
Terrible three-point shooting team.
And
they got a team that relies on them.
And in the nation, they were real low compared to. And my friend I was with at the tournament, I said, you can take a small picture of this. I said, but this is game 33.
Yeah.
This is after Virginia. I said, if you played 33 games and you're not shooting good outside, you need to look at other ways to try to get your offense.
You know what?
And I said, and we never adapted.
Tell
to
me
that.
if you agree with me on this. I watched a good bit of that game, and I think Virginia didn't play great.
No.
They did everything they could.
Had opportunities.
To give Carolina a chance, because Virginia did not shoot the ball well that night.
Well, when
They
you're
missed
sitting
shot
there,
after shot after
something you
shot.
don't see on TV, and I always forget about that till I go to the game. The first 15 minutes of the first half, Virginia's defense was stifling.
Right.
I mean, Carolina couldn't even get to the basket.
Right.
But after that,
That's what
Carolina,
they live by, too.
Carolina had opportunities, but they just you go down, you launch a 3 when you don't have to have a 3.
Well, how about the old days when Carolina always went inside, outside?
Yeah.
I mean, that was you
Yeah.
always
and
wanted,
I know Baycott not
where
being,
their offense
being
moved.
available hurt, but there's been times when they have had Baycott in games that they do the same thing.
If I'm not mistaken, things were reversed this year. Did Duke not lead the ACC in rebounding?
They did offensively.
I'm pretty sure.
And they're one of the
which
top
was a total
rebounders in the country. Yeah.
reversal. And Carolina, I don't know where they ranked in the conference in rebounding, but here's one thing you got to think about too. When you shoot a lot of threes, them rebounds are long.
They're long.
You don't get those rebounds and get putbacks like you
Yeah.
do when you
That's
take
right.
it up.
That's
inside.
a great point.
Well, and the thing about where Carolina in the past has had some teams that weren't real good shooters, but Carolina's thinking was, well, we're gonna shoot till we make it. Because we're going to hit the boards, and that was the Roy Williams.
Well, their best
thing.
teams, in my opinion, are when they rule the paint.
And
Yeah.
it
Year in and year out.
Oh, yeah.
It hadn't been. It's almost now. It's like 4 out and 1 in now. That's.
All right, we got to take another timeout, our final timeout here of the morning as we head to the fourth quarter. Appreciate you tuning in to Sports Talk. Back with more. It's been fun. Back with more in a moment.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com.
Stifel Nicholas now has an office in your community. Stifel Nicholas is a full-service organization offering a wide range of investment vehicles and services. These include money market funds, CDs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, retirement plans, and managed accounts, to name a few. Our financial advisors will sit down with you and help you tailor an investment plan, explaining strategies and investments which may help you achieve your personal goals. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange.
Our favorite music of the morning there. I always think of Gary Glitter. What's the name of that jock rock album that he had? What was it?
I know what you're talking about, but
I can't remember what the name of it was. I know it had a name, but Gary Glitter. Look him up and see what he's done since his musical days. You'll be surprised. Little time served. If I'm not mistaken.
not so glittery.
Not all glittery, no.
All the glitters is not gold.
Nope, not at all. But yeah, look him up. I think it might well, I don't know if anything shocks you. No news really shocks you anymore, does it? But it's
No.
a little surprising when I looked him up one day. I said, oh, wow, so now I know why he got out of the music business. Unless he was Johnny Cash and playing for the prisoners themselves. Let's see here. Let's get into a little bit of last night's high school baseball. Bear with me just a little bit, Mike. Why don't you, while I'm looking at this, just briefly run through the maiden win over West Lincoln last night, 4-3, with a controversial finish up in Maiden last night.
I'm doing the story on this, and I'm still trying to figure out how to describe the ending of the game in which West Lincoln had rallied, right, from a 4-1 deficit, scored 2 runs in the top of the 7th, had runners at second and third.
With 2 down?
2 down, Noah Gann up, and the game ends in just a confusing fashion. Clearly, Gann is hit by the pitch, but the ruling was that
his hands were in the strike zone because he was almost in the middle of a swing, and then when he went to check his swing, the ball hit him on the hands. But the ruling was the hands were in the strike zone, therefore it's strike 3 and the ball game's over.
But obviously, West Lincoln vehemently protested it. They were confused. Maiden's players were lined up, for the typical handshake after the game. But it was a bit of a controversy there. The way that bizarre is one way. I've never seen one end.
Well, Mike, we were in the press box at Maiden, and even the folks in there agreed that 90% of the time it's going to be a hit batter called. But, we don't, from our vantage point, and obviously there's no video, I don't think we'll ever know for sure if the ball was in the strike zone or if it wasn't. Right. But I do know this, once the umpire went over and explained it to Coach Markley, it looked like nothing else was said, and they walked off the field. Yeah, everybody walked off the field without any further arguments. Yeah,
but it was a good ball game. Taylor Cook pitched a good game.
He did.
For West Lincoln.
He did. He pitched well enough to win, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he gave all 3 hits that he gave up were in the first inning. Now, he had some rough sledding there. Blue Devil scored 3 in the bottom of the first, but he did give up a solo run in the 6th, which kind of turned out to be critical. But he pitched well enough to win.
At the time, he didn't think it was.
He only gave up 3 hits.
Mike, you and I talked about, though, the key to that game last night was the swipes of second base, still in second base by the Maiden base runners.
Yeah. 2 of the runs that they scored in the bottom of the first came after base runners had stole second.
Got in scoring position.
I think they had 4 thefts for the game, and they definitely took advantage.
All 4 might have scored.
Yeah. They took advantage of their opportunities.
Or 3 anyway.
So, they only had 3 hits, but they definitely took advantage of stolen bases, walk or 2, but they did a good job of advancing runners when they got them on the bases and those opportunities. On the other side of the coin was the Maiden pitcher, Tyler Hedgepeth. He did a really good job.
He was in control all night till the 7th.
Yeah, I had him working 7 innings, gave up 3 runs on 2 hits, walked 2, and struck out 7. I think he worked 6 2/3. 6 2/3. That's right. That's right. They did bring in a reliever there toward the end. One point he retired 8 in a row, and so he was pitching pretty strong. But again, I guess we're just left with the unusual ending of the game. It was a good game.
If you had a center field camera that got that recorded, that'd be about the only way you could tell anything, for sure. So.
Maiden sort of put themselves in a bad position in the top of the 7th, and West Lincoln rallied. They had a couple infield errors, had a throwing error, and then a bobble, and there was a walk, and suddenly you got runners on base, and then the errors. Both runs were unearned.
Yeah, they definitely helped West Lincoln get back in the game.
Yeah, and again, runners on second and third when the controversial 3rd strike was called on Noah again. So tough loss to the Rebels. They're still looking for their first conference win. I think they're now 0-2. and the CVAC and Maiden got its first conference win. They're now 1-1 in CVAC.
Yeah, Maiden was coming into that game, Mike, 1-3, but the athletic director up at Maiden, Kane Hauser, who was so good to us last night, told us that Maiden's losses were all by 1 run.
Yeah.
Even to Hickory, who is undefeated, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
Maiden played them to a 1-run game, a 3A team there to a 1-run game. So
yeah, tough loss for the Rebels. Particularly
So where were the runners at when the hit batter but became
second and third?
Second, third.
It wouldn't have forced one home.
It would have loaded the bases.
It would have loaded the bases.
Yep.
So
it
you
wouldn't have
don't- you
forced
don't
one
know what
home.
would've-
But, right.
It would have loaded the bases, and on deck was Landon Jenkins.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I would assume we're the better hitters.
Right. He's in the 3 spot. You got to be
3
there
spot.
for a reason.
Yep.
Tuscola beat Brevard 13-4. North Lincoln pounded North Gaston last night 13-6. We already told you Maiden over West Lincoln 4-3 last night in Maiden. Let's see if I got some more Western North Carolina scores here. Hickory Ridge 20. A.L. Brown, not known for their baseball, I guess, 0. 20-0 last night. Another one here, Drone 19 runs last night. Drone 19, Freedom 6. 1A beating a 3A. Let's see, Wilkes Central fell to High Brighton 16-3. North Wilkes over East Wilkes 9-8 last night. East Henderson over Polk County 15-1. Irwin over North Henderson 5-3. Newton Conover over Lincoln 12-5. South Caldwell over Lincoln Charter 13-3. Shelby defeats Highland Tech 9-3.
Now that's a conference game.
It is a conference game.
Southern Piedmont 1A2A.
Yep, for the Mike. I see Kings Mountain Inca here. No score reported there. That's usually 2 pretty good baseball programs.
I thought I got mine.
Does it have a score?
Mine shows a 10-2 win for Kings Mountain.
Okay. Well, I don't have anything on Burns Thomas Jefferson either. Do you have?
I don't either.
Okay, I didn't have anyone for that slot.
I don't.
I guess just thinking about what's going on here so far in the early going. We don't really have in this area, I don't think, that standout team like we had last year. When East Lincoln got on a roll last year, they already have a couple losses, maybe.
And they lost to Cherryville Thursday night.
And there was another one they lost to. They got a big one coming up next week with Hickory because, if I'm not mistaken, Hickory is undefeated still in high school baseball after coming off a great basketball season that continues with baseball.
Yeah.
Thursday night, let's see if I can find Hickory or anybody in here on some of these Thursday nights. Some games were moved up because of speculation of rain. They probably wish they had played now because on Thursday because of the hurricane force winds last night around the area. It felt like anyway. Pisgah defeated Swain County 8-4 on Thursday. Anything else in our area? East Surrey 3, McMichael 2. Let's see. I thought for sure I might find the Hickory score or a Bandy's score, one of those teams that because I saw some Bandy's kids last night walking around up at Maiden, so we knew they didn't. Yeah, they didn't play last night. They might have just had the schedules are really weird and early going anyway. There's some Fridays off for some of these teams, and till you get really into full-fledged conference play.
I see
when
one year
when
on
you know
Thursday,
they're Tuesday and Friday.
Bunker Hill 19, West Caldwell 2 on Thursday.
Bunker Hill.
That's conference.
Say it again.
2, wasn't it?
Bunker Hill.
19, West Caldwell 2 on Thursday.
I want you to know I don't think West Caldwell's won a baseball game. But have you looked at their softball?
No.
Going into last night, I don't know if they played last night or not, their softball was 5-0 and it outscored their opponents 54-0.
Wow.
So, and there were some pretty good teams on that schedule too. They weren't just 2-8. They had beaten some pretty good teams.
Well.
I see the score of the night on Thursday night. Kernersville Glen 35. Parkland nothing. And I'm pretty sure I clicked on baseball.
They made all the kicks too.
35
all the extra points.
to nothing. Hickory beat Maiden on Thursday 5-4. Mountain Heritage 21-1 over Robbinsville. Let's see. This is a good football matchup here. East Duplin beat Clinton 24-8. Those are football rivals.
Football score.
Yes, it is. Brevard 9, Mitchell 8, West Caldwell fell, Mike said already on Thursday, to Bunker 19-2. That's pretty much looks like all I'm going to find for Thursday.
Cherryville 6, East Lincoln 3.
Okay, I told you Cherryville had won that game, but I did
6-3.
did not remember the score. RS Central beat McDowell 7-3. East Rutherford over Gaston Christian. East Rutherford right now ranked number 1.
I was going to say that
among 2A schools.
Pounding people.
Yeah, they are. They beat East Lincoln this past week 6-3, 6-2 or 6-2, I think. They won last night over Gaston Christian 17-0. Looks like East Burke might be the team to beat in baseball in the CVAC. They beat Bandy's 4-3, and aren't they one of only 2 teams that are 2-0?
That's right.
Them and Bunker.
Bunker.
And Bunker struggled a little bit, I think, with some non-conference games. You never know about Bunker.
Don't know, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're usually pretty
some
good.
teams in the
Yeah,
past.
usually pretty good, especially under Marty Curtis back in the day. But also, this is the matchup that floored me. Okay, guess who Shelby hosted on Thursday? And I'm guessing it was just a school that wanted to play in that stadium to see what it was all about.
Somebody from out of state, obviously.
No, but might as well have been. Julius Chambers visited Shelby on Thursday. 4-3, Shelby wins that matchup. I can't imagine why another reason they would have got together if it wasn't just to go visit that stadium. Chase defeated Crest 6-1.
Does that surprise you? A little bit.
A little bit.
Yes, yeah.
Precious normally has good teams.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. I don't think Rutherford County has a bad team right now. I don't know what Thomas Jefferson's done so far, but that's a charter school. But, I mean, you see East Rutherford's number 1. RS is pretty good. They are good. Yeah. And now we got Chase in here too, beating 3A Crest 6-1. North Iredale beat Surrey Central 13-2. East Gaston over Bessemer City 9-3. All these are Thursday scores.
Bessemer City winless on the year.
Are they really? Combine Academy over Topsail. And it looks like that was at Topsail or maybe in a tournament, 8-5. Of course, Combine goes all over the place.
They played Gaston. They played the Rhinos. They didn't win.
Oh, did they?
Played them, yeah.
Yeah, well, they have a postgraduate team,
that's
too.
the one we played, the postgraduate team.
Randleman over Eastern Randolph. Randleman's already lost a game. Did you know that, Lee?
I did not.
They ran the table last year, didn't they? Lost one game out of state.
Lost one game. Did they not lose? No, they got scored on. They got finally scored on in that last series.
That was the news that they actually got scored on. Alexander Central West Rowan 3. It was Randleman 5, Eastern Randolph nothing. Let's see who they lost to, because that's the last score I've got anyway to report.
Wow. Apparently,
from the West.
Burns Thomas Jefferson was Thursday night. I'm looking at 26-0 final in favor of Burns.
Yeah. Yep. That sad to say that doesn't surprise me.
No.
Northwest Guilford beat Randleman 11-0, and that's the only loss they have. They've won their other games 5-0, 6-4, 9-0, and 8-1. So Northwest Guilford must be pretty stout. Good. Yeah, pretty stout, and I'm sure that's a classification or 2 up, right, from Randleman being. I
would say 1 for sure.
1A. I'm going to attempt to pull something up here so we can talk about it, but. The high school games today, basketball, that take place in Raleigh and Chapel Hill, the one that stands out to me the most, the one I want to keep up with and see what happens, has to be Reidsville playing, I don't know how many time defending champ Farmville Central.
Yeah, that should be the highlight game of the day.
You know the Smith kid that plays for NC State,
Farmville, didn't he?
Is a Farmville guy. Yep. The only reason I think we'll find out, the 2 freshmen, Deontay Neal and Harrison. I can never remember his name. I think his first name starts with a K.
It was a tight end and defensive lineman.
Yeah. And Neal was there. Neal was also one of their stars in football as well, and he's only like 5'7".
Yeah.
But he had 26 points last week in that regional final game.
Right.
But that's the one I want to keep up with. I just think if they can play these 2 freshmen aren't freshmen now.
No,
right.
You know?
No. Not after
this far along.
Yeah.
But they classified as freshmen.
That's right.
So that means they're going to be there a while.
That's what the Randleman coach says. Don't tell us they're not freshmen.
Yeah.
We're keeping them 4 years, or at least we hope we are.
I hope you will.
Anyway, but
football might help.
Help
keep them there.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
First going to one of these basketball factories.
Right, academies.
But longtime head coach Jimmy Teague stepped down and retired. after last season. So
True.
I don't know if that would play a factor in that or not. Most time, if you're close with your guys on campus and things like that, you're not going anywhere. You're going to stick around.
Historically, they've been good in basketball too.
They have.
Not like football, but the kid at State now is about a sophomore. Breon Pass was.
Yep. You know,
and
a lot
he's
of
playing
people,
a little bit for State. I seen him in the.
People used to tell me that about Cummings. You know that Cummings back in the day, they were really good in football and basketball, and everybody thought football was their sport, but they had more basketball state titles than they did football state titles. So, look at it however you want. They were pretty good at both. I'll tell you that they had and I think they're kind of on their way back. Is Cummings? I think they had a pretty good season this past season in football. So. Only time will tell. Now, here's what I'm looking for. I'm trying to find. You guys may have to help me if you've got it pulled up. The matchups today, the sites, the all the stuff to go along with the basketball. Let's see here. I don't know. This is not in any order. It doesn't look like unless I can find the times. I do not see the game times, but the championship in 4A women's today is Panther Creek taking on Lake Norman.
And it's on TV, 64,
I know there's
55.
a couple of games.
I was glancing
that
last night,
on.
just scrolling through, and like 3 girl games on.
Which girls' games?
The West Rowan.
I want to
West
see
Rowan's going to be
I'd
on.
like to see that
the
one.
first one's the Panther Creek and Lake Norman. And then I didn't see but one. But I thought I saw 3 girls game, but only 1 boys.
I found the time,
and that was Richmond and Myers Park, and it was like 7 o'clock, or it was at night. It was late in the boys.
Richmond's got their work cut out for them. Myers
They're
Park
loaded,
scorched everybody. Yeah, 4 D1s in the lineup.
And not all of them are seniors.
No, I don't think so.
Because I was looking at something after y'all said that.
And the women's 3A, of course, West Rowan, which defeated East Lincoln in the regional final, going up against Rocky Mount.
Right. That one's at 2:30 today in Raleigh. Also in Raleigh at high noon, Wilson Prep Academy takes on Eastern Randolph. That's a boys 1A championship. Remember Wilson Prep's the team that had 4 wins a couple years ago. Entering the COVID year, they had 4. Yeah. They were 4-0.
4-0.
And they went to the playoffs and won the state.
They won the state.
Won the state. Lake Norman and Panther Creek women play in Chapel Hill today. Also at high noon.
Yeah, that one's on TV.
Rocky Mount and West Rowan women.
And that one's on TV right behind it, I think.
Okay. It's at 2:30.
55 or 64, I can't
One
remember.
of the off-brands.
I had it popped up
Off-brands.
on the screen. You know, I was looking at the grid, and I didn't look at the channel, but I think it's one of those.
This one probably won't to be on TV in our area, but Farmville Central and Reidsville do hook up, and that game is today at 2:30 in Chapel Hill.
I didn't see it on the.
That's sad because I'll have to try and see if I can watch it on my phone.
Pull it up
with
on
the,
your
with the
what you was talking about last week.
Federation of High Schools, NFHS site. See if I can find it all in there. Bishop McGinnis women taking on Chatham Central. That one is at 5 o'clock today in Raleigh. Also, Seaforth. It's the first time I ever remember them being in a state championship in anything.
Seaforth, yeah, I've seen that.
They may be in for a rude awakening. The Seaforth women play Salisbury.
Yeah, they could be.
Today.
Salisbury, of course,
5
defeated
o'clock.
Shelby.
And then East Burke.
Then East
Burke to get there. Yep, they sure did. They beat East Burke to get there.
I'll tell you.
I don't have a prediction really for any of these.
The Central Cabarrus Club in men's, it's a really good ball club, which faces Northwood.
Did I even mention them? That one didn't
No,
pop
you
up on
didn't.
my
3A.
screen. Yeah, it's the 3A
That's the 3A,
championship.
isn't it?
Well, they beat West Charlotte last week. They got avenged their loss to West Charlotte last year. West Charlotte beat them by double digits last year.
Yeah.
They won by 20-some this year.
They ran them out of the gym.
That was they ran them out of the gym, Mike, but that was their closest game in the playoffs, if I recall.
I know.
Most of them been by 40 or 50.
Yeah.
And they got the entire starting lineup from last year back. And I guess they had their sights on, redeeming themselves and winning that game over West Charlotte. And West Charlotte lost a couple of their big 6'9" guys. That didn't help them any. But, West Charlotte went into the playoffs 13-13, but you can't count that.
But I looked on their who they'd played.
They lose to a lot of 4A schools.
Over there that was so good on the other side.
Right.
North Mac and Chambers and Myers Park.
Yeah,
They played over in the other conference,
Yeah,
you know.
they did.
There's non-conference game. And I believe they'd played Oak Hill. I think they'd played Oak Hill to start the season, too.
Well, their conference is a combo conference, I think. It's 3A, 4A, so
Yeah.
they're going to play a lot of 4A
They're going to
schools.
play a lot of
And they're going to play a lot of teams that they're going to have trouble with. But then whenever they get the playoffs and they face 3A teams,
you battle tested.
Yeah, it's not no knock on 3A, but it's just
No.
it's each classification is a
times
step
numbers.
down. Exactly.
I'd say, the West is really strong this year, guys. I don't know what you think about, but in the 4A women, the Lake Norman girls team, they're undefeated, rolling into the
Well, you were
state
talking
final.
about Myers Park, about how good, and I've heard how good, how deep they are. Richmond does have one really good player that's going to state, but he's a junior.
Right.
Paul McNeil, I believe is his name, and he's committed to stay here in the last week. He went out there prolific prep out there in California, but he is back. He was back before basketball season
Before
started.
dark.
So obviously
Back before
that
dark.
California scene didn't
work
didn't
for
help him.
He wasn't California dreaming. Hey.
Yeah, I'll pay attention to all these games today, but I will keep a close eye on Farmville Central and
Yeah,
Reidsville
that's the one
because,
I'm pointing to.
just because I don't know how many Farmville Centrals won in the last 10 years, but
won a bunch.
they've won their share. And Reidsville's the team that could match their athleticism. I don't know if they have
Do any of you guys
enough.
want to comment on what Q Tucker said, the commissioner, that last week at the regional finals was not State Association's
I never did read her
most
comments,
shining
but
hour?
I just sent you a message that said no, it was not, because people were getting turned away.
Even
the
though
venues
they
are
had
too
purchased
small.
online
Purchased
tickets,
and
venues
then
too
it's getting
small.
turned away.
Some people getting in that, that perhaps didn't purchase their tickets in the right way.
Yeah, it's kind of strange,
And when did they decide? Where Grimsley, where you went? Wasn't it Grimsley?
Grimsley, and it's a big high school gym.
Yeah.
It's a big, but it's not Joel Coliseum.
But when
Same way at McDowell High School, big high school gym, but
when you
not
get this
really.
late, you want to make sure that you.
Well, one thing that happened that I heard was that the tickets sold out so fast, it turned out like to be a Ticketmaster thing.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
parents couldn't get in without
And then they
buying
resell them.
$100 tickets.
Yeah.
People were making money off of
See,
it.
that's the problem with online tickets.
That's right.
We found that out the ACC tournament.
Yeah.
We used to go out there and dicker in the front.
Yeah, we get
Politic,
We
Do
can
you want to say
politic.
how much you had to pay to get in, or do you want to just keep that private? I got no problem either way.
114.
How much?
114.
That ain't bad.
I was.
How many games you get to see for that? Just
seen
two? Two. Yeah, that's good.
I'll say because you just came back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you purchase them online or
Or out front?
out front?
Well, I did after we got there, and you don't see the scalpers anymore. They're gone.
No.
Everything's internal now
It's internal.
with the Ticketmaster.
Ticketmaster.
They're the new scalper.
Yeah, they are.
And
yeah.
and if I had the guy with me, he was a technology guru. We were able to purchase something online that went to the card and
I got
figured it out.
I got to tell you real quick a quick story. Mike and I were involved in. Steve K was with us. I don't know who all was with us. We went to the ACC tournament championship one year in Greensboro when Duke was in the championship, and we just went over there because we'd done it
2010
before.
season, actually.
We went over there before and had just bought tickets.
Yeah.
One time I sat 5 rows behind NC State's bench for a Duke game. 5 rows behind their bench for $30.
Yeah.
Because tickets are. Once it gets crunch time, they're trying to get rid of them.
They're trying to move.
But there was a guy, a scalper, out in the crowd roaming around, and he had some tickets, and this guy walked up to him and said, "How much you want for those?" And he gave him a price, and it was, not reasonable.
Right.
And that guy said, "You can't do that. You know that's against the law. You can't sell tickets like that. You can't do that." And that guy said, like I ain't never broke the law before.
Yeah, right.
That was the best line I'd heard
Love
all
that
day. Like
can't
I've
do that.
I haven't broke the law before. Never broke the law before. He was going to get his money for those tickets, or he was going to eat them at one time. 1 minute to go. The 1 minute warning as we wind down here. Appreciate Lenny coming in this morning and sitting in for Brett, and we've had a good time.
Then
Good
we'll throw out.
discussion.
I heard last
a lot
night
going
that
on.
one of the Alou brothers passed away.
Oh, I have not heard
And,
that. Felipe,
no,
Maddie,
it was
Jesus.
Jesus. He was the youngest, I believe they said.
Oh,
80
wow.
years old. It come across last night late. And
I want to say hello to Michael Christopher watching. Remember, Michael was a sports writer for the Lincoln Times.
Scott Conger said Lincoln made 8 errors last night. Didn't help their cause. Ned says Jimmy Teague, one of only a few. This is the Reidsville coach that stepped down to ever win football games as Garinger coach in over 60 years. There may be 2-3 seasons in the late 80s playoffs. Guess Reidsville said if he can win there, he can win anywhere. So exactly, and they got him in, and he's won 9 state titles, I think it is, as a head coach. Appreciate you tuning in this morning to Sports Talk. We will see you next Saturday. Thanks for tuning in.